When rolled sorghum Sudan grass residue provided an inadequate mulch layer for organic no-till tomatoes, we decided to compare 3 supplemental mulch materials to smother weeds. We chose the same plastic that was used in the conventionally tilled control, black landscape fabric, and marsh hay. Marketable tomatoes were harvested weekly and sorted into first and second quality fruits. Yield was measured in pounds per plant. Statistical analysis of both the first quality and total yield showed there were no differences among the no-till mulches or the tilled control. We did find differences in soil temperature and labor, however. As expected, the soil temperature under the light-colored marsh hay was lower than the other mulches. Though there was no overall yield difference in the marsh hay, the harvest from those plots was delayed, as you can see by the way the green hay line lags in early harvests. Labor in each treatment was tracked in minutes. Planting and weeding times contributed to overall differences. All the no-till treatments were laid directly on top of the sorghum Sudan grass residue and sprouted weeds. Plastic and landscape fabric were laid first and then planted into. Planting through small holes into untilled ground was more difficult and time-consuming than first planting the tomatoes and then applying the mulch, as we did with the marsh hay. When it came to weeding, the wheel hoe had no trouble cutting right up against the landscape fabric, but more caution was needed along the plastic and marsh hay to prevent tearing or moving the material. We seeded the aisles to a mix of Dutch white clover and annual ryegrass at our second and final weeding, and maintained the aisles with mowing thereafter. At the end of the season, we saw that no weeds survived under any of the mulches, with the exception of those growing through the plastic planting holes. This chart shows the input and labor costs for a 100-foot bed of tomatoes in each treatment. Though the control is the most cost-effective in any given year, the longer-term benefits of reducing tillage and adding organic matter in the form of marsh hay are not quantified in the chart. These benefits could translate into decreased fertility costs and higher yields in the future. If we can make no-till systems more efficient, then they will be more cost-effective. For instance, using landscape fabric with a single-row crop like tomatoes can be simplified by first planting into cover crop residue and then laying a sheet of fabric on either side of the plants. Trellis posts can then be placed in the seam with no damage to the fabric. This method is faster and more protective of the mulch material. A second idea is to mulch some tomato beds with marsh hay as a way to extend the harvest without the need for succession plantings. Finally, when wet soils delay tillage, using a no-till planting system can be especially effective. Planting directly into residue and using mulches, as we did in this trial, can get farmers in the field on time with minimal soil disturbance and no reduction in tomato yield.